They got drafted and then they killed their own teams. Let's see what this is about.
It's hard to quantify which players should be considered the worst in the NBA. Sometimes a player could be decent for a couple of years, but then they have a season where they just seem completely off. Sometimes there are terrible players at the end of the bench. Every team has them, but they don't play enough minutes, so they don't hurt their team that much.
This nigga has so much confidence. It's fucking hilarious how much confidence this nigga has. This nigga's confidence level is always on 150,000% coming into the game. And you only play for 35 seconds. Like, it's insane, bro.
That much. However, in this video, I want to take a look at not just Killian Hayes, but several of the worst
is he
players
really that
in the
bad?
NBA. Players who are destroying their own team.
Chat, how bad is Killian Hayes? Because I've seen a lot of Killian Hayes hate. What's wrong with that? He seemed pretty fine to me.
Yet these guys are still getting a decent amount of playing time. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today we're gonna take a look at some of the NBA's most detrimental players.
Good hands are underneath. What is he doing?
10 boards and 8 assists. Killian Hayes to the basket. Missed the
That was a good take.
top side of Killian. Just a triple try. 39, I believe. Yep. Killian misses from the paint.
What the fuck? Alright, my nigga. Is he a rookie? If he's a rookie, he gotta get out. He can't even, he's not even allowed in the G League if this nigga's a rookie.
Oh, wow. It's creepy.
When Killian Hayes got drafted,
Oh, wow. Yeah, get the fuck out the NBA. What the fuck?
2020, the Pistons were not in a good situation. Not too surprising there. The Blake Griffin era ended in a failure, as he could never recover from a knee surgery that we now realize was basically a career-ending injury. They moved on from Andre Drummond, their longtime franchise player. In June of 2020, they also hired a brand new general manager, signaling the start of a new direction for the Detroit Pistons. A team that hasn't seen true playoff success since, the Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace days. Not too long later, the Pistons were granted the 7th pick of the draft, which they used to draft Killian Hayes. Hayes initially was considered a top 5 prospect of this class, so he actually dropped a little bit. Initially, the Pistons were quite happy. They needed a point guard anyway, and what better way to kickstart a new rebuild by drafting the second best point guard of this class? Or at least that's what everyone thought.
Good pass.
Several years of tanking have led to this moment. This was their prize, Killian Hayes. It quickly became apparent that not only was he horrible and didn't meet any of his projected strengths, but he was also one of the worst players in the entire league. Arguably the worst player of anyone who got significant playing time. In his first 4 seasons in the NBA up until now, Killian Hayes has always played at least 25 minutes a game. And coincidentally, the
nigga, you averaged 7.1 points per game while playing 24 minutes. That is fucking stupid.
Pistons have been undeniably the worst team in the league during this span. Perhaps it's not a coincidence. I'm not saying Hayes is the sole reason for the Pistons' misery, but he's certainly a huge reason for it.
Yeah, I bet.
His putrid numbers speak for themselves, yet it still doesn't truly capture how awful he is. Out of all qualified players, he is by far the least efficient scorer. And you know what's funny? This is actually the best efficiency he's ever scored at. In the past several years, he's been even worse. That's not an exaggeration either. His win shares, his plus-minus, they've all been even worse before this season, which is insane. If 2024 is the first time you're watching him, just imagine, this isn't even the worst version we've seen of him. So what about his game has led to these catastrophic numbers? Well, there are so many weaknesses in his game. It'd be a lot faster to list his strengths.
What is
Prior to
it?
the draft, despite being credited for
Nigga, your free throw is his best fucking attribute his fucking looks? Cause if your game gets you no bitches, imagine your looks. He's a good looking nigga, but he's not getting a Brittany Renner averaging 6 points per game. A bad bitch know when you that nigga or not. That's a fact. So if you play like that, nigga, shit.
having a high basketball IQ and feel for the game, you don't see that much, like at all.
Nigga 6'8", sack of ass, bro.
It's much more rare to see him make a good shot or take a good shot. He was projected to be a good shooter,
You're a bag of
bigger
shit.
point guard who can shoot step backs and excel in catch and shoot situations.
Hey,
That
okay.
has not worked out for him. To make matters worse, his weaknesses were worse than we imagined. Initially, there were questions of, is he fast enough? Is he athletic enough to blow by defenders? Hayes' biggest weakness is his lack of explosiveness and lateral quickness, and it's made him struggle to find separation to get an open shot.
Oh, my nigga, you're dribbling like a 71 overall, obviously. Nigga did the slowest tween of all time. I've never seen a tween slower than that, nigga. Shaquille O'Neal can do a faster tween right now. What the fuck are you doing?
However, I don't think anyone
Oh,
predicted
nah, you was slow.
it would be
Oh, he's
this
slow.
bad.
He's slow
In
as shit.
fact, I find his pre-draft scouting report to be eerily similar to someone like Frank Ntilikina, in the sense that both players were
I can,
completely raw,
which is
had
not a bad
limited
take at all.
explosiveness that
Bro, I
caused
could be in the NBA. No cap, chat. If I was just like 2 inches taller, I'd average maybe 11 points, 3 assists, 1 steal, 7 rebounds. Word of my mother. I'm actually pretty decent.
to struggle offensively. And their teams drafted them solely based on their future potential. With both of them being from France, it's hard to gauge international.
That light-skinned nigga is French? How the fuck you say, hey Siri, how do you say bye-bye in French?
In French, bye-bye is au revoir.
Oh, what, nigga? Fuck you talking about?
Prospects. Hayes never really stood out above his peers. Aside from a few great tournament games, there wasn't a huge sample size on him. The risk of him turning into a bust was quite high. To give him the benefit of the doubt, he's never played on a good team yet. Is it partly his fault?
Yeah,
but
fuck.
it doesn't help that this team is just lacking in so many areas. Hayes runs the pick and roll on over 36% of his possessions, which is a sizable chunk of his plays, yet he only manages to score 0.66 points per possession as the primary ball handler. Now that
You score not even a point off a pick and roll. Yo, you're actually a sack of garbage.
is abysmal. Most players who run it this frequently score around 0.9 to 1 point per possession. So, yeah, I don't think it's all his fault. It's hard to flourish when you're surrounded by dead fish. But Hayes?
That was the ugliest step back ever. Go back.
I think it's all his
Go
fault.
back.
It's hard to flourish when you're surrounded by dead fish.
He's literally on you. He's not giving you no type of space. That's not a 3-point shot that you can even shoot. So why would you then step back like that? You're not even open. He's gonna close you out. You won't have time to take the shot.
Hayes can also be
Heavily
considered a
contested.
dead
Yo, I at least expected him to hit rim. Air ball. You gotta get the fuck out the league. Get out.
fish. At least he's not
Get
as
the fuck
bad
out the
as
league.
Isaiah Livers.
Patrick Williams? Shooting like
There's
Miko
a
on
striking
2K.
number of young players highly ranked
Let's stop the Miko hate. Get off my cock. Thank you.
prospects who floundered in every single season.
Who's
of
this,
their
chat?
career so
I never
far.
heard of him in my life.
Patrick Williams, the 6'7" starting power forward for the Chicago Bulls for 4 straight seasons, was another dud from the 2020 class. Drafted at number 4, Patrick Williams was one of the greatest athletes and defenders at the college level. And just like Killian, it wasn't his raw numbers that stood out. He was drafted based on his enormous potential. In particular, his defense and versatility. Compact in a very athletic
Good defense.
build. Williams was cited as a tweener, a guy who wasn't a true 3 or 4. Scouts projected him to be a player similar to OG Anunoby. It was, you know,
Wow, the disrespect is crazy.
fair comparison when he came in, but the issue is most tweeners
Ooh,
do
good
not
tween.
pan out.
Hey!
In most cases, they have a hard time establishing an identity and role within the NBA. And in the case of Williams, several years into his career, and he's still one of the worst starting power forwards in the league. I'm not even sure he should be a power forward, but he doesn't have the ball handling or any perimeter skills to be a small forward either. Since he got drafted, the Bulls as a team have not been great. But they haven't been that bad.
Jesus
They're
Christ.
kind of in, you know, that 30 to 40 win mediocre category, I
I ain't
guess.
gonna lie to you. I remember when they put all that whole team together. I was thinking they were gonna go like, you know, first round exits. These niggas are below first round. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic,
Yes,
overrated
they have a
ass
negative
players.
3.6 net rating with him on the floor, and plus 2.4 with him on the bench. Essentially, they are plus 6 points per 100 possessions better with him not playing. Whenever he is playing, Williams just doesn't do much. His rebounding is quite poor.
Oh, he
and
can't
it's
shoot
partly
either.
why-
Oh yeah, you're cooked. You can't shoot in this league. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You can't shoot. Manic, shut up. After this video, I'll take it off.
the Bulls
I'll
have
take
been
this video when
struggling
it's
in
done.
this department. The offense doesn't really try to involve him much, besides the occasional 3-point shots off a swing pass or pick and roll. To give him credit, he's been shooting well from 3. It's the bare minimum of what you need from a power forward. From judging their careers thus far, both Patrick Williams and Killian Hayes are turning out to be massive busts. As bad as they've been, neither of them are the biggest bust of this class. That honor goes to
Thank you. Oh Lord. James Wiseman, the worst useless big man I have ever met in my I've never met him, but I've ever seen in my entire life. That nigga is the worst fucking overall pick in the entire world. Worse than Markelle Fultz. I hate this nigga. And his first name is fucking James. Fucking hate this nigga with my life. Fuck this nigga, bro.
James Wiseman.
Useless
Drafted at
ass
number
center.
2 and being the projected number 1 pick in his
Jesus.
senior year of high school, the dude was supposed
Fucking
to be the next great big man.
disgusting,
but it's
bro.
quite clear why Golden
Fucking
State gave up
boo-boo
on him
ass
so
nigga.
quickly. Wiseman is probably the softest center in the entire
Thank you.
NBA,
Fucking bitch
along
ass
with
nigga,
having
bro.
a negative basketball IQ.
Fucking stupid ass. How you have a negative basketball IQ when you're fucking, oh my god, nigga. How the fuck are you negative? How? Man.
And he can't really do anything but catch the ball at the rim and dunk it. He can't shoot, he can't dribble, he can't even defend because he's so slow at rotating. And he sets the softest screens you'll ever see. I wouldn't be surprised if Wiseman ends up playing in China a couple years from now.
This nigga trying to stat pad?
Hey, at least he already knows how to speak Chinese, so that's a head start. The more I think about it, the more it looks like the 2020 draft class is turning out to be a
Yeah.
done.
Probably the worst draft class of all time, maybe.
Now, it may be too early to make this judgment, but there's a startling number of super high draft picks who are struggling. And I don't mean struggling.
Good looking ass nigga. He's the definition of looks don't mean anything. Like, you are a fine light-skinned brother, but you are the worst nigga in existence.
As in, oh, they're not playing so well. These 3 guys in particular are possibly 3 of the worst 10 players in the entire league, at least among players who actually get meaningful minutes. That's more than just
And they're all in well, 2 of them in the Trip Pistons. That's a lot.
struggling. There's a very real chance their NBA careers are closer to being over than you think.
Really? Cam Reddish is a good defender, though.
Speaking of players who play over 20 minutes a night and have very little impact on the court, look no further than Cam Reddish. Playing for the Lakers in front of a much larger viewing audience, people are surprised at how bad and useless he is. But if you've been following him since he got drafted back in 2019, oh, you should know he's always been like this. The crazy part is, the Lakers give him so many minutes. Initially, he got those heavy minutes early in the year because of his defensive prowess. However, he's the prime example of when a player's defense does not make up for his lack of offense. Especially on a team like the Lakers, who already have a bottom 10 offense. Unlike the other teams I talked about, this team is desperately trying to contend for the championship. In the
But they're
twilight,
you know how bad you gotta be to leave you open, bro? They're leaving you open on purpose, Cam.
years of LeBron's career, So to have a player as bad as Cam eating up significant minutes, that's concerning. He's been in and out of the starting lineup, but out of all Lakers starters, he has the worst box plus minus and the worst scoring efficiency by a large margin. I think there's mixed opinions on Cam. For one, he has a defined role on this team. He brings hustle, energy, and active hands all over defense that certainly has helped shape this team's identity during his time here. Though this is not the type of player he envisioned himself becoming. I bring my energy defensively. Obviously, it's not like what I'm accustomed to when I was growing up and stuff, but it's the league. You just got to make the most out of every opportunity. This was a noticeable quote because Reddish was one of the most versatile offensive prospects of his class, projected to seamlessly fit in as a playmaker and huge upside as a scorer. It turns out that was a huge stretch, and he had to quickly change up his game. Since entering the league in 2019, Reddish has always been a complete non-factor.
Oh, you know, I just farted. Yo, I didn't. Y'all heard that? I definitely just farted. I ain't gonna lie, I definitely just farted.
On offense. You don't want this guy shooting the ball.
Whoops.
His defense is actually the only thing keeping him on an NBA roster. Very rarely do you see a 4-year college player get picked in the top 10 of the draft. Whenever a team drafts a guy like this, the expectation is for him to contribute right away.
This nigga ugly as hell.
Not some young 18, 19-year-old who's still growing into his own body. Davion Mitchell played his first NBA game at 23 years old, and he was expected to be the replacement for Buddy Hield. Back in college, he was an incredible shooter, hitting over 45% of his threes, and a very good defender to boot. The Kings hoped he could become kind of a 3-and-D role player, to match up and guard the opposing team's best point guards, something that De'Aaron Fox has struggled with. In theory, drafting him made sense. He seemed like a very mature player coming in, and they tried to make it work. Davion Mitchell got a ton of playing time as a rookie. But over the years, he saw fewer and fewer minutes.
Jesus, nigga, you start from 11 to 3 points per game is insane.
But again, Mitchell's playing time dropped even further. It's completely reasonable though. If you look at his shooting numbers this year, they're god-awful. Considering shooting is the reason he got drafted, if he can't even do this at a decent rate, what's the point of playing him? Though even after moving to the bench, Mitchell has played even worse. They tried molding him into a backup playmaker, but with Malik Monk also in the backcourt coming off the bench, it's hard to play two small guys in the backcourt at the same time. By the way, outside of Monk, the Kings have
Malik Monk is nice though. Don't disrespect my nigga Malik. My nigga Malik Monk get buckets.
Struggling.
Facts.
It makes it a lot harder for the point guard.
Alright, can we stop glazing Jordan Poole? Like, Jordan Poole just became a shell of himself. That's why he sucks. But if he's a bucket on a good team.
I was kind of wondering if I should put Jordan Poole on this list.
Yes, sir.
Because he's had some good years back in Golden State. He's not a terrible player.
He's not.
On the Wizards, however, when it comes to straight up killing your own team, tanking to the bottom of the standings, look no further than the main culprit, Jordan Poole. Going from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows is a huge change.
Because this nigga punched you in your lip, that's why. Draymond Green punched you so hard, you became a bitch ass nigga.
On a team with zero expectations, and being one of the primary options, I'd imagine he'd be a lot better. I mean, there's no pressure to make the playoffs. Heck, there's no pressure to win at all. You would think he'd be more relaxed with less of a burden, but joining the Wizards has had the opposite effect. It seems like Poole has lost all motivation.
Yeah.
When he was on the Warriors, he thrived under pressure. He's a guy who likes playing in high-stakes situations. On the Wizards, he's lacking that motivation to perform because there are no stakes. Whether his team wins or...
He's basically saying, fuck it, I don't care. Which, that's not a good player at all. Nigga was a bucket in Golden State. And he was like, you know what? Because I'm not in Golden State, I don't care. We're the Wizards. No one cares about us. I don't care how I play.
Loses.
I hope he knows how to speak.
That's had a
no
negative
Japanese.
effect on his mentality. Poole is one of those players who, if he gets traded to an actual contender or any competent team, I feel like he'd play much better.
Put Jordan Poole to the Lakers. Promise you that nigga's a bucket. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Jordan Poole and the Lakers would be a bucket.
Immediately.
Nah, that's my mom
his
cooking.
Talents, his skills are still there. Perhaps being a full-time starter and not playing on a team with the best shooter ever has impacted his productivity. He's gotten a lot more attention from opposing defenses, and he's not responded well. Out of all players in this video, Poole has the most talent. But out of all starters on his team,
he's
he has
the worst.
net rating. I mean, just look at these abysmal on-off numbers. His team has a negative 14 net rating when he's on the court, but only a negative 1.9 when he's off the court.
Nah, bro. I live by the fire department.
The Wizards are literally 12 or 13 points per possession better when he's not playing. It's a result of them having a relatively decent bench, at least better than you would think from looking at their record. It's their starting lineup.
This nigga's doing so much.
Poole is a big part
He
of that.
fucking made that. This is what I'm talking about, bro. Jordan Poole will be doing this in the Warriors, and he will get glazed by everybody. That's a terrible fucking shot. He made that. Oh my god, bro. What the fuck? Yo, where's
Okay, you might be upset that
Thanasis?
I'm putting a rookie on this list. I've tried to avoid judging rookies, but when I was working on this video, I looked through a lot of numbers, a lot of advanced metrics and all that stuff to figure out who really were the worst players in the league. So I felt like I have to mention Scoot. Scoot Henderson is having an all-time atrocious season by a rookie or by any standard.
He's a rookie.
He's getting significant playing time, which makes sense, because he's the Blazers' 3rd overall pick, and they need him to play so he can learn and improve. That doesn't take away from the fact that he literally has the worst box plus minus in the entire NBA. It's not even close either. When he's on the floor, the Blazers average 90.7 points per 100 possessions, and they give up 121.3 points per 100 possessions. I mean, I don't know what to say. The Blazers are almost as bad as the Pistons if you go by point differential. I understand they're trying to develop their young guys, giving them more experience, and not just Henderson either. Shaedon Sharpe as well got thrown into the fire. It's gonna be rough for a while, but 27 minutes a game, 12 shots a game on 36% from the field, 29% from 3, but also over 3 turnovers a game and over 3 fouls committed per game. Scoot Henderson has a legit argument for having the worst season in history, especially out of anyone with this much playing time. Of course, because there are some historically bad teams this year, his awful play has been swept under the rug. It's not yet time to panic, obviously, but this has to be somewhat concerning for Blazers fans, right?
I
It's
doubt
common
it.
to see rookies and other young players make gradual improvements over time.
Where's Thanasis?
We'll have to
Where's
wait and
Thanasis
see.
Antetokounmpo?
Anyway, that's all, folks. Those were some of the worst players currently in the NBA
Really?
who are actively hurting their own teams. One thing in common is that they're all super young, and I made this video with the intention of finding young players who are simply not contributing to winning. For some of these guys, they've been bad for several years, and it hasn't gotten any better, so it's time to wonder, how much longer will they remain in the NBA? If you stuck around this long for the end of the video, I want to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for all the support over the years. I've been trying to make longer videos that are at least 15 minutes long. I feel like it gives me more time to express my thoughts clearly, and just to dive deeper into the content I'm talking about. So I hope y'all enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time.
W video. Can't hate. This is W video right here. I can't hate on that. I was really hoping for Thanasis Antetokounmpo to show up, but